Canadians think that they voted in a Liberal in Mark Carney in April. But you dig under the surface, and the most conservative agenda the country perhaps has ever seen is currently being rolled out under the Liberals. And I think Mark Carney is perhaps a better conservative leader than Pierre Poilievre. The new One Canadian Economy bill, it's being posed as like getting rid of bureaucratic red tape, etc. But when you scratch under the surface, there's a lot of things there that conservatives have argued for many years. Tearing down interprovincial trade barriers, fast-tracking mega projects, and also reviving the Energy East pipeline. Now, Carney was very quick to call it the Energy East Partnership, but don't be fooled. This is a pipeline that he definitely wants to see get to market very quickly. Carney even mentioned the $200 billion that's lost as a result of bureaucratic red tape, etc., other barriers to trade inside Canada. Now, this has been a number one talking point for many conservative leaders. Pierre Poilievre, Stephen Harper, even Preston Manning, they all talked specifically about this, the internal trade barriers that are slowing down Canada's ability to get product to market. Then there's the promise of nation-building projects to be approved within 2 years. Now, Canada is one of the few jurisdictions that allows for environmental agencies, Indigenous community groups, and other agencies to have a say when it comes to projects being fulfilled. At the same time, Canada is a leading jurisdiction in multilateral negotiations and making sure that enough stakeholders and partners are part of the process. You'd think that as a Liberal, this would be the thing that Liberals would want to preserve as much as possible. This is something that would distinguish the Liberal approach from the Conservative. And then there's the doubling of the Indigenous Loan Guarantee Program to, I believe, $10 billion. This would allow communities to co-own these mega projects, employ some of their own community members as part of these projects, bringing good salaries into their communities. I also want to pause here and say that remove Mark Carney and the Liberals and insert a conservative leader, and I'm sure you would think that this is aligned with the conservative idea on getting products to market. But Mark Carney is a Liberal, and now I feel like what Justin Trudeau did by stealing votes away from the NDP and pushing the party further left, Mark Carney is doing the opposite and actually taking the Liberals further right, perhaps, than what others may like. Now, to cap off this point, I just want to remind everyone, we're entering the second week of June, and June marks Pride Month here in Canada. The previous Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, would have already tweeted out about Pride Month, probably have gone to a flag unveiling, and would have signaled in some of his speaking remarks the purpose of Pride and why Canadians are celebrating. Mark Carney hasn't made a tweet, to my knowledge, hasn't publicly acknowledged it, to my knowledge, hasn't mentioned it at all. And I think this is a symbolic shift, a shift away from his own personal views and focused more on economic prosperity of Canada. Again, a very conservative lens to a social issue. I don't believe it's an accident that he hasn't tweeted out or made a statement about Pride Month. I do believe this is symbolic and it's a break from the past. At the outset of this video, I said that Carney might be a better conservative leader than Pierre Poilievre. And from a policy standpoint, Carney is ushering a very conservative agenda, but he's doing so without that anger, that populism, the social media fights, the clickbaity stuff that Pierre Poilievre was masterful in the past few years. And so Carney is ushering in this, quote, quiet conservatism. That's not loud, that's not abrasive, that's one about getting the economy, quote, back on track and doing all of the things that help this country prosper. And I think this is resonating with the average Canadian. So I'd love to know what you think. Are we witnessing the rise of a quiet conservative leader and our older liberal policies falling by the wayside? Let me know what you think in the comment section below.